For most people, improving your looks means slimming down, a little touching up, or working out, striving for the body beautiful. But to some, a beautiful body is not about fitting in with society's expectations. In Mexico, a qualified lawyer and mother of 4 deals with her demons through extreme modification.
Of course, many people don't like it, I think, because they don't dare to be themselves.
In the United States, 2 dedicated muscle women finance their sport through one-on-one sessions with admirers. In Japan, young people looking for the latest thrill join the cult of bagel heads.
From what I understand, the bagel head process is pretty blood-free.
And in London, the world's most pierced woman basks in the glow of her fame.
I like it. Do you like that too?
These are the stories of people who, in the pursuit of beauty, take things to the extreme. London's Camden Lock is used to its fair share of colourful characters. Setting up her tools of trade, a street performer draws a crowd. Even before she begins her act, Elaine Davidson has their full attention. With more than 8,000 holes in her body and upwards of 500 in her genitals, she is officially the world's most pierced woman.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm going to do right now, I need one volunteer.
As Elaine Davidson works her audience, she is the physical embodiment of her childhood fantasy.
The only thing I dream about in my life when I was a little child.
Elaine dreamed of appearing in a book, a very famous book. In May 2000, she achieved that dream when she earned the Guinness World Record for most pierced woman.
I dug this out. You'd be fascinated to see. This is the first time you appeared, and we had this fantastic photograph of you. I think what you've done since, you've gone on to better and better the record and make it impossible for anyone else to beat.
When I sent my pictures the first time, they accept me and they took me like a part of the family, and I still use them, and they still in my heart, and they will be there forever.
But growing up in Rio de Janeiro, piercings weren't so well received.
Tattoos and piercing in Brazil is something what not so many people accept, is taboo. They don't accept because they think that tattoos and body piercing is only for prisoners. I got my first piercing 10 years ago in a genital area, in a very delicate area. My family and nobody else, I don't want them to know about. I don't want them to see it, so I done it for myself.
Elaine left Brazil for the UK and began piercing in earnest, enhancing her appearance with tattoos and body paint, away from the censure of her culture and her family.
Tell me something, where do you come from, honey?
Brazil.
Oh, you're Brazilian too? Oh, yes. 2 Brazilian nuts together. Oh, la, la. I enjoy stand out in the crowd. When I go shopping, it's quite fun. People do look at me the way they think it's fun, or it's scary, or it's a little bit intimidating. But do you know what? I don't really care. Keep screaming, otherwise I don't do it, okay?
Societies create certain modes of behaviour that are expected and certain types of appearance that are expected, whatever those might be. So anyone stepping outside those, either deliberately or unconsciously, will engender kind of negative reactions.
Ouch!
I think in our culture, it's the job of women to be beautiful. To purposely remove yourself from the beauty project to say, I will embrace something completely outside of what we consider beautiful, is to in some ways remove yourself from humanity as we define it. And it is taboo in that sense.
But in Camden Town, where the weird and wonderful are often embraced, Elaine finds admirers.
I think it's actually quite beautiful, really, because it's unique and it looks nice. All the colours, all the effort, you know, I like it.
That's great.
I think it's beautiful. Je pense que c'est magnifique.
Elaine craves attention and celebrity status.
She's found a way to gain notoriety and fame and to see her name in a book. And that's quite an achievement. I mean, she's the champ.
Elaine obviously loves the piercings, the feeling of having them in, the attention that it brings. I mean, you can go around the world and become a famous person as a result of being a record holder. Excellent, look at that, sweet.
For this 43-year-old, life is a whirl of photo opportunities. She charges thousands to have her photo taken, more if she removes her clothes. But Elaine must constantly pierce to keep ahead.
I like to have like one ear and one here, just a little bit lower than this one.
Okay.
Elaine never uses anesthetic.
I don't like to use no drugs at all in my body.
Okay, if you rush your head back for me.
Or nothing at all. Don't have a piercing done, spray, numb, nothing at all.
Okay.
As a piercer and street performer, Elaine has always pushed her body to the limit.
Even before, I have tattoos and piercings. I was doing other things like lie in bed of nails, put 3 or 4 people on the top of me, and I like to walk in fire, I like to walk in broken glass. And it's just to find out how much my body can take, because my mind is very strong, and I like to try between my mind and my body to see the balance, which one is the strongest. And because I can control the pain extremely well, I can go a little bit further.
What does seem to me to be the case is that not only for Elaine Davidson, but for many other people who get piercings, they do regard it as a sort of emblem of empowerment. That's to say, I'm powerful, I'm strong, I can take piercings. Probably most of you can't, or at least you can't take as many as I've got.
This here is absolutely nothing at all. This is just a pinch. What is the most important for me? To keep myself safe and clean and stop infection.
The greatest risk to health comes in practices where there is just not adequate control in terms of hygiene and the use of antiseptics. Anytime that you're piercing the skin, there is always the risk of infection. There's a question about, well, is your needle sterile?
With today's additions, Elaine says she now has an unbelievable 8,006 piercings. As long as everything heals, there's no medical reason for her to stop, so she could pierce every inch of her body. But has Elaine gone beyond modification?
The word mutilation is one that gets used particularly in psychiatric or psychological research about body modification. But I think mutilation to me, and to certain other scholars, will describe something that's destructive. What Elaine's done, by contrast, is obviously purposive. And I think because there's something aesthetic and something proud about it, mutilation doesn't seem to me to be really applicable.
I'm not cutting myself because I think I hate myself and I want to die. I love myself, and this is why I spend all my time and my body and my skin, make myself as a canvas where I can make my own drawing with my tattoo and my body piercing.
And this canvas is designed to attract admirers.
You wanted me to do something sexy?
One of Elaine's favourite subjects is sex.
I love sex. I love everything about sex. Hey, keep going. Don't stop. I want noise.
But with her hundreds of genital piercings, some wonder if it's even possible.
Although she likes to talk about sex, I think it's mainly talk. I would think that normal sexual intercourse is probably precluded.
I like it. Do you like that too? Oh yeah. Check that. I have a piercing not for sexting. I have a piercing for the Guinness World Record. Yeah!
It all comes back to the pursuit of that record, of the dream.
I'm Elaine Davidson. I got my record. I'm happy. My family happy now because I'm famous. So everything okay. Everything fine.
Ryoichi Mada is a writer, photographer and artiste, known to his friends as Karopi.
明日は女の子1人含む3人
This studio is the site for his next installation. His piercing specialist and audience have arrived. All they need to get started are the victims. Karopi's latest batch of bagel heads. In Shinjuku, Tokyo, one of the best-known figures in Japanese body modification psychs himself up.
We're going to do the demonstration of bagel heads tonight. We've got 3 people. One of them is a girl, and another is doing it for the first time tonight. I'm looking forward to it very much.
Karopi Mada has been on the scene for more than a decade. Though he does show his own art, it's another kind of exhibition that's made his name. The bagel head, achieved by injecting saline into the forehead. With piercing expert Asami on site, they set up in earnest.
The installation will involve seating the people who wish to have the bagel head done. Then we'll set up the saline solution to hang behind them, and we'll inject the saline solution into their foreheads.
Karopi is the undisputed king of the bagel party.
To date, I've probably produced more than 50 bagel heads in Japan alone.
Tonight, Marin and Scorpion will be injected. Both have done it before.
Body modification is my reason for living. It's my life. I continue to take body modification one step further all the time.
The third participant is John, an American teacher living in Japan. He is a bagel head virgin.
I have to say I'm a bit nervous, but excited. It's something I can say I did, kind of brag about afterward.
With the crowd in place, they're ready to begin.
皆さんそろそろベーグルヘッドのデモンストレーション始めますよ。希望者の方が来てます。どうぞ拍手。
From what I understand, the bagel head process is pretty blood-free and very clean, sanitary. It's just a needle going into the forehead and injecting saline solution.
The saline is entirely harmless, as long as it's injected correctly.
It needs to be done as hygienically as possible to reduce the risk of infection, really in the same way as when doing tattoos or body piercing.
Ooh, that's a needle going into my head. Ooh.
Doesn't look bad. No. It doesn't look pretty though.
You really need to do it the right way to reduce the risks. That's why I work with Asami for technical support.
I have a slight stinging sensation, but that's about it. Yeah.
As the saline is trapped in the forehead, it creates a small reservoir. Or rather, it should. Something's gone wrong with John's bagel. Blood has seeped into the needle and stopped the IV. When the needle is removed, things get messy. But on the second time around, the inflation works.
Almost feels like something's dripping down my head. Is there something dripping down my head?
No, I think it's just the
It's just on the inside. Wow. Yeah, I can really feel it in there. It's like trickling down.
Now it's actually moving.
So, has it turned you off? Do you still want to do it?
Doki doki.
Soon Scorpion has his turn, thankfully without any blood.
The whole practice of forehead saline infusion was initiated by a photographer, Jerome Abramovich. So it's very much a practice invented for photography. It was designed to be spectacular. It was designed to produce a particular otherworldly, odd aesthetic.
Hiropi learnt the practice from the photographer and brought it back home.
Japan was the first place to have these kind of events, where several people could get a bagel head at once. So I think that's probably one of the big reasons why it became popular in Japan. Japanese people, and this is not just with body modification and the bagel head, they like something that is a world first.
After a shaky start, John is settling into the experience.
Right now it's kind of a relaxing sensation, kind of tingly, and also kind of a building pressure that's kind of slow and steady that feels like it's putting me to sleep.
I call it swimming with the dolphins, as lots of liquid collects in your head. It's like you're diving underwater. Your mind becomes kind of vague and dreamy. It's an extraordinary sensation.
Up to 400 cc's of saline, and 2 hours later, they're full up.
皆さん、ベーグルヘッドのファイナルをやりますよ。じゃあそろそろあさみさんに、ベーグルを、作ってもらおうと思います。あさみさんお願いします。
Once it's fully swollen, you take your thumb and press down to make the indentation in the middle. That's the part that becomes the climax, the finish of the bagel head process.
This thumb is digging into my brain. I'm cute. It's cute. All right.
What I really enjoy about taking the photographs of people with bagel heads is the look of surprise after they see their swollen forehead.
Oh. Sweet, buttery bagels. I'm impressed. I look delicious.
"24 hours or so later, when their bodies have absorbed the saline, the swelling will disappear completely.
It's a bit like a freak for a day experience. To see everyone's transformations at these parties, to see them having fun, experiencing being like a freak, is what I really love about it.
They're engaging with deformity and anomalous bodies because they can, because it's just momentary. Certainly they're trying to momentarily say, I'm ugly, I'm monstrous, I'm deformed. On the other hand, they walk away from that. They can go to work the next day or go to their homes the next day and not be stigmatized by it.
Tomorrow, their bagels will be gone, so tonight, they party.
I'm aware that a lot of people will think that what I'm doing to myself is very strange and possibly unattractive, but I think that the people who really know who I am will kind of respect that as a way of expressing myself. Well, it says in the Bible that the body is a temple, and I'd say if it's your temple, you should decorate it however you like.
Zapopan, Guadalajara. A figure moves in the graveyard of this 17th century basilica. She's officially the world's most modified female. They call her La Mujer Vampiro, the vampire woman. School's out in Guadalajara, Mexico. Dozens of parents wait at the gate, but one stands out from the crowd. Maria Jose Cristerna, qualified lawyer and mother of 4, is no yummy mummy. At least, not as most people would understand it. Maria Jose is the vampire woman of Mexico.
A television company gave me that name and it stuck, so I accepted it. But I have never said I like to drink blood or do things like that.
Contrary to popular belief, her horns are not a homage to the devil.
A lot of people relate the horn implants with dark or evil things, but that wasn't really why. It's because I found body modification fascinating. It really was a very difficult decision to tattoo my face, as a lawyer, as a mom.
Many have been openly critical of Maria Jose.
The strongest criticism that I've got is that I'm incapable of taking care of my children, that I am a bad example because of how I look. At the end of the day, they are my biggest reason for living.
So I do think in our visual obsessed culture, we know what a mom's supposed to look like. And part of the reason we know is because of television and movies to a smaller extent. You do need to look normative, put together in order to be considered a good mother in our culture.
Maria Jose is no stranger to controversy.
The modification is extreme. People can get a tattoo or something, but that's too much.
I think it's because they don't dare to be themselves. They're always wondering what others will say.
Maria Jose has 96% of her body tattooed. She has multiple piercings, teeth implants, as well as implants in her head, chest and arms, and always more in the pipeline. Her latest additions are extra implants in her arms.
It's like having a child. It's hard work. And because of that, you love them a lot. It makes you value them even more.
Maria Jose has her own tattoo and modification studio called Body Addiction.
I am addicted to this. It would be silly to say I'm not. So in my case, I'm trying to overcome my personal obstacles. So there's a meaning behind it. Everything has to have a meaning. Anyone can draw on themselves, as if they were a blackboard. I quit my job as a lawyer because I fell in love with this art. I love tattoo and modification. It's a job as worthy as being a lawyer, and I feel freer here than in a courtroom. As far as my education and the type of family I grew up in, it was a classic Mexican conservative family. I'm Catholic. I have always said that.
But her desire to mark her body was already there.
I got my first tattoo when I was 14. My family told me that markings on my skin were against God, and I always tried to explain to them that this was an art and had nothing to do with religion.
By her 20s, she still had only a modest number of tattoos, but after a dramatic period in her life, a passing interest became an obsession. At 17, Maria Jose got married.
The bad thing is I got married very young. I got married against my parents' wishes. What was once beautiful became a nightmare. It was monstrous. There was physical and psychological abuse. My life was at stake.
Her husband hit her one too many times.
He took the radio and broke it on my head. He broke my nose. He kicked my face while I was on the floor while my children watched.
Maria Jose gathered up her kids and fled.
I decided that nobody will ever again interfere with my rights or those of my children. It was the moment when I started to focus and get inspiration for all the things I wanted to do to my body.
She divorced her husband and embarked on a project to turn her body into a work of art. It would take years to fulfill.
It's like when you go to a psychologist. You repeat things over and over until you heal your soul. But in my case, the process was to modify my body.
25 piercings, 3 chest implants, 7 arm implants, 4 transdermals, 6 horns. Slowly, painfully, the vampire woman was born.
Everything you can see externally is what I felt internally.
11 years later, Maria Jose has transformed herself beyond recognition.
She's making a statement that it's I who am in control of my body. And this is how I heal the psychological harm that was done to me. The bruises may already have been healed, but the persisting psychological effects may continue for a while, and one way to try to erase those is to show that I'm really in control of my body now.
The mohawk is the symbol of the Amazons, of the female warriors who never allowed anyone to invade them or humiliate them. I expanded my ears to be like our ancient Aztecs. My teeth are not actually vampire teeth. They're like the jaguar warriors, the representation of Mexican warriors connected to jaguars, a symbol of strength. I'm a survivor of domestic violence. I'm like a warrior, so I've adopted all of this in my appearance.
Todo esto.
With her nightmare past behind her, she's facing a brighter future with her second husband and artistic collaborator, David.
Right now, I feel really happy with David. At one time, my designs were linked to the sadness I felt. Now it's not because of that. It's because I am happy, and this is what I want to pursue. There will come a time when I'm going to stop and wait for the great modification that all of us go through, which is old age, and I will wait for it with dignity, as it should be.
Jennifer Scarpetta and Megan Abshire are bodybuilders in pursuit of the extreme.
As big as possible, as lean as possible, and as symmetrical as possible.
There's no pain they won't endure, no sacrifice they won't make, and only one sure way to make it pay.
Oh my God, wow.
Private sessions with male fans.
I get some absolute freaks. You have to pretend to enjoy whatever they like.
Get on our knees. Go.
In Abbeville, Louisiana, Jen Scarpetta is starting work.
So where are you from, Steve?
Los Angeles.
She's showing off her body for money.
You see my six-pack?
Very hot.
It's called muscle worship.
Muscle worship is an unusual activity which about 10 years ago wouldn't even have been labelled. It's a supreme form of fetishism. Like all fetishism, the sexual delight is in the manipulation of the fetish object.
And massive thighs.
Muscle worshippers pay by the hour to Skype with Jen.
And the other bicep?
But the real money is in meeting men in the flesh.
Oh my God, wow. That was awesome.
For female bodybuilders, it's a tough road to the top. Jen's already in the pro league. Megan is hoping to get there soon.
I'm not a pro yet, but I've placed in every show that I've done so far.
Tournament season's on its way, so this couple's in training 24/7.
Most often it's an hour of cardio in the morning on an empty stomach. Right now I'm eating 7 meals a day, and they're all small portions. But after my second meal, I go to the gym. I lift weights for an hour to an hour and a half. Leave the gym, another meal. 2.5 hours later, another meal. And then another hour-long cardio session at night.
Your day doesn't end until 9 o'clock, and it's the same thing over again.
The results are extreme and controversial.
Female bodybuilding inspires so much controversy because it rejects the gender norms that society expects people to conform to. Megan and Jennifer, in pursuing bodybuilding and such a high degree of masculinity, are visibly rejecting the demands of femininity, that the body be small, that it be delicate, that it be fragile.
Some people do think that it's taboo. I mean, you know, women aren't supposed to be stronger than men. They aren't supposed to be bigger than men. They're supposed to be smaller and submissive.
Who writes the book on feminine? Who says a woman can have biceps?
It's not just their muscles that are controversial, it's the lengths they'll go to get them.
There's drugs involved, of course there is. By no means am I saying for everybody to go take steroids, you know? Absolutely not. But it's just a given in our sport that you have to do what you want to do.
Though illegal without a prescription, steroids are standard fare.
The use of steroids in the competitive bodybuilding world is pretty much an open secret. It would be very difficult to attain competition standard physique without pharmaceutical enhancement.
The health risks include certain effects that are known as masculinizing, such as a lowered voice, increased body hairiness.
They may also increase blood pressure and raise your bad cholesterol.
Bigger and leaner, with more and more muscle, these extreme goals come with a hefty price tag.
My food is over $1,200 a month, last time I checked. $125 for your hair to be done at a show. $125 for makeup, $125 for competition spray tan.
Factor in medical bills, and that's more than $2,000 a month, each. And the bad news is that female bodybuilding barely pays.
Well, by no means do we make money doing what we're doing.
Cash prizes for men are greater than they are for women because men draw a bigger crowd.
Not including all the sponsorships that they get. It's hard to get a sponsor as a female bodybuilder. We should at least get the same, you know? But that's not the way it works, unfortunately.
Jen and Megan must find a way to support their sport. So they regularly travel interstate to meet men for private sessions in hotel rooms.
Amazing. You are huge.
Fans pay some female bodybuilders up to $500 an hour for a range of services.
Wrestling, lift and carry, arm wrestling, squishing fruit, being overpowered. It's just good, clean fun.
There's no single answer as to what a client might get out of a particular muscle worship session, but some possibilities are that they are more comfortable in a submissive role. That's usually forbidden to them. And they'd like to have a different experience from the dominant role that they're normally expected to perform.
Most girls can't pick a 200-pound guy up and throw him over their shoulder and then do 20 squats with them. So I think they kind of get a rush, like, wow, like, this girl's really powerful.
This is a representation of the female bodybuilder as comparable to the dominatrix, but it's taking this S&M scenario to a new level of more intense realism, because the dominatrix is simply playing the role of being strong and powerful. The female bodybuilder actually is strong and powerful.
Well, get down on your knees. Let's go. Let's do it. Ready?
I gotta say, wanting to feel dominated is a part of it. I've always kind of like that. Otherwise, I wouldn't be interested in athletic women. I like to get my ass kicked. It's very hard to meet a girl that's in this sport, such as Jennifer, on the mainstream. This is a special treat for me.
In another room, Megan's got her own client.
You have bicep implants or something?
Yeah, I do. No. Oh, that's mine. That's definitely mine. I have big arms, so I get a lot of people that want to see my biceps in person. I'll put on a shirt, flex, and bust out of it, stuff like that. You gonna let me scissor you? One time I have squeezed the guy's head so hard that I knocked him out, and I didn't realize. I get some absolute freaks. The whole hour is just like I'm grinding my teeth because they can't carry a normal conversation. It's very draining because you have to kind of get in their mind for that hour and totally not be yourself and pretend to enjoy whatever they like.
Since I was a little boy, I remember I was always intrigued by strong women, muscular women, and it's just something I've always found attractive. A lot of guys are embarrassed for some reason, or, you know, they may think that a woman looks masculine, or they may think that you're gay or something.
Latent homosexuality is one theory.
Gorgeous.
Others disagree.
I'm a little dubious about that theory myself, simply because being gay in contemporary culture is not as taboo as identifying as being a muscle worshipper.
What's your answer?
Saying I'm a muscle worshipper is going to raise quite a few eyebrows.
Do you think you could handle it?
How many muscle worshippers there are out there, nobody knows. But it's popular enough that most female bodybuilders offer the service. And many offer far more than Jen and Megan.
I would say that probably most session girls probably do. Girls have made it an escort service, and it's sad for people like me that, you know, don't want to. I'm here for the fetish of the muscle and the power. I'm not here for sexual purposes. I get people that get really pissed off at me because I won't do what they want.
If they want an escort, they need to find an escort site, because that's not me. I'm here to throw you around the room and beat you up.
Power, muscle, and single-minded dedication.
It takes a very strong-minded person. There is no, oh, well, I'll do my cardio tomorrow.
Jen and Megan put their lives into sculpting their bodies to perfection.
I feel like my body is, you know, almost a piece of art.
But artwork is always controversial.
The desire that a lot of men feel for hypermuscular woman is deemed unusual within contemporary culture. Now, having said that, we have got a history of the eroticization of the muscular woman. So most cultures will have stories or myths or legends about Valkyries or Amazons or muscular goddesses. So that erotic fantasy has always been there within our culture, but it's only been in recent years, of course, with the advent of bodybuilding, that can now be realized.
Perhaps Jen and Megan are simply turning back the clock to a time when cultures worshipped powerful warrior women.
I create my own way. I'm not a follower. I like to be a strong woman. I don't want to be a little fragile, dainty little thing.
I definitely don't want to be a swimsuit model. That's not me. So if that's society's ideal, then yeah, I am Taboo.
The brand new series of Taboo continues at 9 p.m. next Tuesday with a frank look at the world of fetish. Stay tuned for Secret Access Week.